Hi friends, it's Roberta from Roberta's Artistic Adventures. I wanted to do some art today. This is one of my old art journals from when I was in Arkansas. And each of the pages has lots of different texture and images on them. I generally don't know what I'm going to do when I start. I just start painting or add a piece of clip art, which is what this is. And this clip art is actually something that I made. I stamped and die cut this image, and then I colored and painted it. So I use alcohol markers to color it, but then I also used other markers like Posca markers. On this page, I had put some excess paint and it was red. And then I later went around the different areas that had the red paint and just drew outlines. And this big main piece, I just drew a bunch of lines on the inside. And my grandkids told me it looks like a shark because of the mouth and the fin and part of the body hiding. So this is one that's not yet finished. And each of these are 2 pages glued together. So I do art on the one side, glue the other page, and then do art on the other. This one is called Whimsical Birds, and it has 3 circles. And these are painty papers that I'd already made. I cut them into random size circles. Then I use more random painty papers and cut out wings. And then I drew tail feathers and head feathers and the beaks and drew in the legs. And of course you do the background first and then you do this part on the top. And I got this idea from Cat Hand on YouTube. She does a lot of mixed media. This is another one. I had a die cut, and the die cut had a bunch of little holes in it. This die cut is solid. There's no apertures or holes in it. The hummingbird did have some. So I put the die cut down and then I drew lines. And then this was also an excess paint page. And I had some butterfly die cut, so I laid them down and did outlines on them as well. Sorry. Just another page of a bunch of random paint and messing around, not finished. This one has Tim Holtz Crazy Dogs, and I die cut, I stamped and then die cut the 4 dogs, colored them with alcohol markers. I had done this background page and then I put the dogs down and I also did a heart on there. It's very relaxing to do this kind of art. This is another page that's not yet completed, and it has holographic sparkly glitter paint. This one is 3 of these flowers that I had stamped and die cut and then just glued down to the page. It has the art on it, but it doesn't have a sentiment yet. So I haven't completed all these yet. This is the snowman pages, and most of these pages that we've done are pages that I did with my grandkids. So each of them had their own book, and we all had the same art pieces, and we all did a lot of the same art on some of the pages. And so one of them that we all did was the one with the snowmen. This was a lot of fun. This is a page that I had done, and I used stencils for the background. So this is one where I have all the different size dots, and actually did the whole page with just this stencil and this stencil for the grass down here. And even the tree that I colored, I did with a bunch of circles. So this side of circles is the green and the teal blue and the soft lemon yellow, whereas on this side it's more of a dark orangey brown with some blue and yellow and greens. And then of course I drew the tree and the swing, and I stamped and die cut and colored my rooster. This was an image. I really didn't like the color, but I took the colors that were in this and I used the colors for this page. So this page has a dark autumn fall colors. This has the bright spring colors. And I put my rooster down on the page. These again are just extra paint pages and they are not completed. This one has a book page, so if you look real close you can see where it says chapter 22, and I think it says Emily, and then it has whatever the story is down here. But I took the book page and I just put a bunch of little, like a little bit of green. Well, let's start with the center, the pink, the purple, the blue, the yellow, and green, and I did different shapes. And after I put down the color, then I used the black marker and went around and drew the outlines. And I had done this arch stencil in the background. I had done that first, then I did these shapes on the top, and then I did the edges with the little, they look like those little candies, those little jelly candies called gumdrops. Anyway, so I did those edges, and then I also did some doodling with silver marker all around. And then this one has the butterflies. I had these really cute little pink butterflies, and they had all these little openings, so I laid the little butterfly die cut down, and then I would just draw the outline and all those little circles and did a page on that. And no, I didn't stamp or glue down the butterfly. I just used it as a stencil to draw. This is, and these colors are not as bright as they normally are because I have some powder on them. It's called DE, and it's to help keep the pages from sticking. So I did this page, and I did some green for the grass and some bluish colors for the background and some yellow for the sun. And I just used regular copy paper that you use in a printer and cut out different shapes for leaves, just random, no pattern. Glued them down and then drew lines around them and on them. And this is the top from your antiperspirant or deodorant stick, that little oval piece with a little handle on the top. That's what this is. That I stuck it in some paint and I stamped it down and got images. This was a random doodle page, and I ended up making some flowers, and this one I made into a little girl. Just more random. There's different colors, and then I would just outline them. I like this one. I don't think I want to put anything on that page. With the same as the leaves, I just used paper and cut out a bunch of fish. This is also a page my grandkids did with me. And all of our pages turned out similar and yet different. And this is book page, as you can see the words. And then some of the pages in our book are half pages, where I just take one page over, fold it in half, fold it into the crease even, glue it down, and then I can just do half a page of art, which that's not completed. And this is just a doodling page. I haven't completed a lot of these because they're just basically for fun. And so today I want to work on one, and it's going to be this page here. And on this one, I want to use a darker color in the background. And sometimes I use my fingers, sometimes I use paintbrushes, sometimes I use stencils or sponges. But when I'm doing something big like this, I tend to just want to use my fingers. And if you look, you can see this paint a little older, so it has some clumpy pieces in there, but it really doesn't matter. The thing about mixed media is just you do this because it's fun. It doesn't have to be anything specific. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be something that you enjoy. And a lot of times when you're working on it, you look at it and you go, oh my goodness, that is a hot mess. That will never be interesting or pretty. But you keep working on it and you will change your mind. And I'm going through using a bunch of different colors. I'm not using all the same colors everywhere. And then this has got a pretty dark background now from all the paint. And I'm thinking I want to do some coneflowers. And so I'm going to have to lighten the background up. I love having painty hands. It means I'm having fun. Alright, so one of the things I want to do in the background is do just a couple of these hearts. And let me get a pink. Not sure if I want this color or a lighter one, but I'm just going to go ahead and go with it. Now, because I'm using a sponge, I do want to put some of this down. And I'm going to get a little bit of water. And that looks like it might be a bit much, so I'm going to add a little bit more of the paint. The paint actually will go up inside the sponge. And so it looks like there's not a lot, but it's actually just sitting inside of the sponge. And you can't pounce too hard because these have really thin lines with this heart stencil, and the ink will go under and make a smudgy mess, which it's not really going to matter much because I'm going to go over this, but I do want to try to make it look as nice as I can. And part of it is when you're doing this, you do want to go off the page a bit on some of the elements that you're doing on your page. Okay. Now when you have this, let's see if I can find it. Remember where I put my book. Okay, that's almost dry. When you have extra paint, this is another of those whimsical birds I did. And this is a bird I did yesterday. But when you have extra paint, you can see I used yellow on here and spread throughout the whole page. It's darker yellow than lighter, and then I use splatter. So I'm going to look for a blank page. Add a little more water. And I'm just going to ink up this page. And I can do this on a couple of pages. And this will give me a background that will be ready to work on while at the same time I am making as much use out of my paints as possible. And these don't have to be the perfect color or the perfect swipe. There can be parts that are left undone. And for this one, I'm going to go ahead and paint the other side as well. And you see on this side now, the ink is less, so I'm going to come pick up more. And the pages get all wrinkly, but it's not a problem. And I've even had a composition book like this that the ink from the lines actually started bleeding in my artwork. And so instead of getting frustrated about it, I just embraced it as part of the art. And so when I would do art on those pages in that composition book, I would expect that that would be something that would happen and make that part of how I was going to do that page. So now I have almost all that ink. Really don't have it all though. If you look, you see there's a bunch still in there. So I'm just trying to get it all out. The other thing this does is helps clean out your sponge so you can add more colors, because I will be doing more. All right, I'm going to close that, put that away. I am going to put this one away, and I want to talk about this. This is called punchinella, and I actually have a roll about this thick. But punchinella, you know what sequins are. This is the roll of the sheets of plastic that they punch sequins out of, and then the sequins can be molded so they have those lines on them. But this is called sequin waste, and the other name is called punchinella because it's got punched out circles or other shapes, because punchinella does come in other shapes. Here's one right here. I'll get this one up. I don't think I can. I have a bunch of tools and stuff over here, but this here is also a piece of punchinella, but I have it taped down because it's got really fine lines and I don't want it to tear. Anyway, so for punchinella, you use this, and you can, I don't think I have anything left on there. Let me do this one. It gives you a bunch of little circles for your background. And just gives a little interest to the background as you're doing your work. I'm going to add a little more. Always remember to go off the edge a little bit. And that one, see how nice and crisp these little circles are, and then this is smudged. And it's because it has too much of the ink on there. But in the end, it's not going to matter. Just trying to add some everywhere. Mostly to get rid of the ink. All right, So we're here. Now, the thing I was going to tell you about punchinella is I found that when I cross my two pieces over, if I cross them in a certain way, I can get different shapes. So like when I cross these this way, nope, that's not it. There. When I cross it this way, you get these flower shapes, and that's what this stencil is. You can see it has a circle in the center and little flower petals. So that's what this one will do. And when I cross two of them in a different way, I get these little ones here. And it just depends on how you cross them over. So if you have punchinella and you've never used it any other way other than just straight punchinella like this, you could make your own unique stencils using that, doing this. And what I do is I trim any extra punchinella off, and then I add frog tape or some other kind of masking tape on the edges, and then just use the center as a stencil. I'll find my page again. Here we go. I'm going to add a little green. This one is kiwi. It's a bright limey green. And the paints I have are actually, some are new and some are pretty old. So when they get old, they start getting boogers in them. They start getting congealed. All right. And it doesn't matter if you're going over other parts that you've already stenciled. All you're doing is trying to add a little bit more interest. Because if you think about it, this page has already gotten a lot more interesting to look at since I first showed you the page when it was just plain and boring. Always remember to go off the page. That should be enough. I need to make sure I use up all that paint. Sometimes I can go ahead and just put it back in my paint bottle, but sometimes I can't. And for the times I can't, I just go ahead and use it real quick. One thing that adding all these layers of paint to a page does is it makes the paper thicker. All right, there's that. So I've done both of these, which is what I wanted. Okay, so now I want to add just some of this down here on the bottom. I like to mix the colors where they're not completely blended, but let the blending happen when I'm doing the stenciling. And I'm sorry if it's shaking the camera. I'll try to not do that. Didn't think about that till now. I haven't made a video in a long while, so. And right now I'm just trying to add some into places that look like it's kind of empty. And it's layering on top and giving it more of a full look. And since this is just a bunch of tiny little leaves, it takes a long time to be able to get it in, to kind of fill in the space. There we go. Okay. Now I want to try to draw in. Oh, wait, I need to do something else. Let me see if I can find my rag. Wash my hand. I need to get the blue paint that's on my hand off. And I just use a rag or a hand towel. I have one that I've used for like 6 years. I can't find it since I moved. All right. What I'm trying to do is kind of cover up the brightness by lightening up the background so that the flowers that I'm going to draw and paint will actually be the focus and not all this what's in the background that could be distracting. And you know, when I first started doing this, I had really hard time going over, because before I did the white, I thought, oh man, this is beautiful. Not a Mona Lisa, no, that's not what I mean, but just for mixed media, this was beautiful. And now it looks way different. But that's part of what you would want for something like this, because you want what you're going to draw or glue down onto your page be what the focus is going to be. All right, wash my hands again. And as you can see, it picked up some of the blue, green, and purple paint, just tiniest little bits. All right. I don't have to get it all off. It'll come off later. I think I want to do the splatter first. Or, yeah, I think I do want to do the splatter first. Oh, actually I could use the green and see what that looks like. When you do splatter, you need watered down paint. And you need one of these fan brushes. And this needs some water. I have a little cup of water here. Actually, I do not want to use that. I definitely want to use the black. So let me go ahead and use this. And the paint is not thick because I'm spreading it really well. So when I close my pages, they're not going to stick. Sorry, I'm doing that. Bumping the camera again, I'm sorry. That's probably going to be the whole video, huh? I need a better camera setup for sure. All right, I need black. And it needs water. And this is going to make a huge mess and black splatters getting everywhere. So if you do this kind of art, you need to make sure that you have an area that you're not concerned about if it gets paint splatters. I do have a box. If you look in the box, you can see that I put something down and did the splatter. So that's what I'm going to do here. I need a couple of clips. If you heard that noise, that's my daughter's dog. He's in here snoring. These clips are just not big enough. There we go. Not going to be enough for that one, is it? All right. And for the splatter, you need something hard. And then your brush, and you want to kind of wipe off any of the excess, and then just knock it. Some people like splatter, some people do not. I absolutely love having it on my page. In a lot of projects, I actually like to use real coffee as the splatter instead of paint. All right. By doing it in the box, I kept almost all of the paint that was going to splatter in a specific controlled area. All right. So it looks way different again already, right? And I need to let that dry. And I need to do something with this. So I'm going to turn a page. Actually, I could do some splatter on another page. No, not in this one. This is an old one, so I'm not going to splatter. I'm just going to use a paintbrush. So what I suggest, if you are interested in trying this, if you've not done this before, you just go to Walmart, which is the cheapest place I know of to buy the apple barrel paint. And it's just as good as any other paint. All this paint is glue and pigment color. And that's all any of them are. These are 54 cents a piece at Walmart. If you go to Michael's or other stores, they're going to be more. And also at Walmart, they have other brands, same product, different label, different manufacturer, and they'll cost you twice as much or more. So make sure that you don't get pulled in by that, thinking you have to have the most expensive. You see what we're doing here. It's not going to be like a Mona Lisa or anything. It's just going to be something that you are going to love and enjoy. And you could paint really beautiful paintings with it. But I'm just saying, for a fun hobby to pick up, it's cheap. You could pick about 10 different colors. A composition book is about $1. And paintbrushes, you can get those for $5. You can get a set of about 5 or 10 paintbrushes. You can get sponges or other things. Alright, so I'm going to try to pick up this extra paint that hasn't dried by putting a page down on it. And some of these black splatters may smush and become larger and flatter. It's raining a lot outside right now. So that picked up, and then some of them, as you see, did get bigger. Alright. So I want to do a couple of coneflowers. Alright, so that's the beginning of my painting a coneflower. Now I have to find a paintbrush that I can paint it, fill it in with. I can't find my 00 paintbrushes, which are paintbrushes with just a little bit And it's pushed at an angle from when I'm leaving it accidentally a little long in the jar of water to wash it out. This one will hold a lot of paint, which I have a bigger area here to color. And this one will do lines in small areas. I'm going to do an orange. This is called jack-o'-lantern. I'm going to do kind of an orange first layer for the coneflower, the cone part, and then I'm going to go over it with yellow. And again, don't stress over this. If you're doing a project similar to this, it does not have to be perfect. That's one reason why I love this form of art so much, is it's just fun. It's very relaxing. And so basically this part of the flower, it's just like you're painting a bunch of gumdrops. There's no specific kind of a shape other than it's a wide, cone shape in the middle of a flower. When I drew mine, I didn't make them as wide as I want, so I'm just adding to it as I go. Because, it's my picture, so I can do it how I want to. And this one is it's got too straight of a line, and it needs to come out more. Kind of like a gumdrop that's been squished a bit on the bottom, so the bottom is wider. Let's see if I can even find the ones I did on this side. Do you guys see it? Because I can't see it. I think it's this line right here, huh? If you get frustrated with how long a video is, you do know that you can go down into the bottom of the window of the video, where the video is, to the right corner. You should see a little gear symbol. When you click on it, you want to look for speed, and then you want to click and hold where it has the speed setting is at 1. You can go to 1.5, 1.25, 1.5, 1.75, and then 2. And then that will increase the play speed so that you can watch the video. And you can even hear the talking, but it's going to go really fast. So I do that a lot because I watch a lot of videos. That's the only way I'd be able to watch all that I do. I do art, I watch homesteading, I watch cooking, watch a lot of different things. Oh, I want to do this one. It didn't spread out as much as I wanted it. And that one is not dark enough right here. All right. Trying to find that page we were doing this on. Oh, the other one. Just need to get rid of this extra ink. All right. Now I can go with the yellow. The yellow feels like it's a bit watery. So instead of doing that one just now, let me start with the petals. I haven't done one of these before, so I'm just kind of figuring it out as I go, making it up. You always have to shake it because the glue and the pigment separates, where the pigment is heavier and it goes to the bottom, and the glue goes to the top, and the glue is a clear glue. Now this one has a pretty big booger in there. Needs to come out. See? I think this one needs to be longer. Let's see, this is going to be over the top of these. So I'm going to do the little ones first. A bit much paint on that one. I want to make some of these leaves like different shades. So that's why I'm trying not to paint them all with the same shade of color, even if it's the same color right now. Some of these are going to be lighter. And then there's going to be another layer over the top. So looking at this right now, I'd be thinking, oh my goodness, this is just a hot mess and I really don't like it. And I just don't want to even bother finishing. But I'm also not a person that likes to give up. So I just keep trying to add more. Okay, so now I'm going to go to a different color. This had a pretty dark orange color. So any other color that I'm going to use, because I'm going to the lighter colors, it could, if I don't clean it out right, pick up some of that dark orange. So if that's something that, when you do yours, if you're doing anything like this, if that's not what you want, you have to make sure, clean out your paintbrush really well. And if the paint that you lay down before is thick and not dry, you'd be able to pick up that color and add it in there. To get more of a blend. I have extra, so I'm trying to pick it up and make use of it. And these aren't dried yet, so I could add some yellow now. I guess I can go ahead and try that and see what we get. Get some boogery paint is what we get. I'll do another layer of the yellow on top to make it darker. Need to lace some out. And you see that this paper has a lot of water from the paint. And so it is, you know, it's got a bunch of buckling going on, but it's okay. It'll stay buckled unless I wanted to straighten it out, which I don't. It's just one of the things that happens when you use this kind of paper because it's so thin. Even if you're gluing a couple pieces together, it's still thin. It's not watercolor paper, like 140-pound or 200-pound paper that is made to be able to hold a lot of water. And it's actually something I like the way it looks. To me, it just gives it more texture, and I really like a lot of texture. Finn, what are you doing over there? You sure are making a lot of noise. I always try to do a fast video, and it ends up being 2 hours, so I apologize. But if anybody wants to watch how to do something like this would be a video that you could learn. This is, you know, kind of what I was watching when I was first learning how to do this stuff. Stop. I don't know what you're doing over there, but you need to stop. He loves to lick things and sniff everything, even though he's got the ability to eat food anytime. He's always looking for something else to eat. Okay, done with that for now. See if I have a different one of those paintbrushes. I don't think there's another one in here. Let's see, I'm trying to find one where they're not all cut at the same point. They're cut in a layer, so they have this round edge, and this does not have it. But maybe as it holds the paint, it will. This would have been a lot easier and faster if I had just used some pretty paper and cut a bunch of these little flower petals out and glued them, and cut out the little coneflower tips. But I wanted to paint instead. I really like to do the painting. Ooh, that had a bit too much. And doing these colors and trying to blend them together. That's what I'm trying to do here. Okay, I'm going to leave that as it is for now. Try to use up this extra paint. Pick up some water, add it. All right. I need to add more of the yellow. Almost looks like coffee here. And the yellow is not dry yet, so I'm going to go ahead and go with the green. Do some stem. I need stems for the flowers. So I want to use the same green colors that I used in these areas and even this, if possible, because it helps the colors to be more cohesive, because you can see the different shades of those colors. I think this might be too dark, so I want it a little lighter. Definitely not the thin brush that I need, so see if I find something else. This one I'm not happy with, so I could put something over here. Actually, I need to do some leaves. I don't know what kind of leaves coneflowers have, but this is art, so you can actually just make it however you want. And for me, just the typical leaf shape. Definitely need the darker color. Marsh green, arbor green. Sorry guys, I've just gotten into it and then forgot to even start talking anymore. I apologize. I'm wanting this to dry, so I'm going to use the heat gun. These get really hot, so you have to be careful with them. I'm just pouncing it a little bit to get some texture. So what do you think of it so far? Definitely not the most beautiful thing you've seen, right? The more you paint it, trying to get it to look like what you want. Even if I had to leave this sitting overnight, or a couple days, or a week, or a month, I can always come back when I'm ready and make it what I want it to look like, or keep trying to. I'm actually happy with it, with the exception of I don't know how that got smudged. I need to use some ink and put some color back over it. So let me get that real quick. All right, those are out of the way. So tonight I've used 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 15, 16 colors. I'm going to try to dry this again. Okay, so for like these, I can come out here and outline with a Posca pen the parts I want to highlight. Like this was thicker, but I didn't draw the line all the way out to make it thick. I went ahead and tried to draw it in and make it skinnier. And the yellow is not dry all the way, so I can't go around that. I can do the stems and the leaves. Trying to figure out which one of my flower stems is going to be on the top. All right. Okay, I guess these are almost dry enough. You can ruin your permanent markers by using them when the paint is not dry, because the paint glue will dry on your marker. And these are $6 or so a piece, not including the shipping cost. There. And then I think these have like a bunch of little dots on them, but I don't want to do it now while this is still wet. And this is a page I worked on earlier today with all the yellow and green paint that I have extra. I want to find a page I can scribble on to try to get the glue off. I don't want to close this on this because that will smudge on. So I'm going to use this. There. Pick it up. Anyway, I will work on this some more and add pictures. I need to find the cup so this doesn't dry out. Alright, so this is what it looks like, and you can look and see all the little imperfections, like you can see some of the background here on this petal, so if I wanted I could go in and I could add more paint, but actually I think it's fine. You can see paint comes outside because I tried to make these not the shape I painted, but the shape I wanted. So let me know in the comment section what you think about it, and if you're going to try it, and if you do try it, let me know so you can post a picture so I can see it. You guys have a blessed day. Thank you for watching.